Check this out. This is Mr. Brown coming to you from another episode of the I'm Not a Hater podcast. Alright, so the number one question I get asked is, what is it like working in a school? And my number one answer is difficult. Okay? And there's many reasons I could give why it is difficult nowadays to work in a school, but I'll give like just a couple just to kind of satisfy why it's so difficult working in the school. Now, this does not reflect current situations, obviously, but they kind of all fit in what's been happening over the last couple of years, again, working in the school system. Now, the number one difficulty you face is kids not being on grade level. Okay, so for instance, right, if you have just for purposes, you have a middle schooler who is reading on or at below like a third or second or third grade level. Okay, so that's a difficulty, right? Because you got a student who doesn't understand the type of work that they're doing. And again, in my profession or my part of the educational field, working one-on-one with these type of students can become very challenging because they don't often know how to read what's being given to them on a middle school level, and they struggle with the simplest of tasks, right? And once they start getting dysregulated because they're struggling, now you got to do stuff like pull them out the class. You got to do a whole bunch of extra steps to get them to the point of feeling like they can actually accomplish a goal, which takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of talking. It takes a lot of encouraging, which again can be difficult if the kid is shut down and doesn't feel as though they can accomplish any of the goals. They often feel like it ain't worth it. But you try to do the best that you can with with what you're given, what you're working with, and you try to make sure that the kid feels as though they can accomplish it, even though it may be a tall task. You and that child have to work together to accomplish that goal, which again can be difficult when the child is not wanting to cooperate and join you in accomplishing their educational goals. Now, the second thing I find difficult is parent buy-in. Okay, parents aren't buying into their child's education much these days. They're more concerned with making sure they got the latest sneakers and clothes, as opposed to whether they can read or write. And when you call them and say, hey, John is struggling with reading and writing, they throw it back in your face as if it's only your responsibility. Now, we have 7 hours a day of working with these students 5 days a week. That's 35 hours. The other however many hours it is, I can't do all that math right now, but however many hours it is that you have them at home, and again, it goes both ways. If they're not learning at home, it's going to be 10 times harder for them to learn at school. If they're not learning at school, they won't put in the effort to do any work at home. So you have to play your part as a parent. You got to do your part. Now listen, I can only talk from my experiences. I got a 9-year-old kid. Okay, he is currently reading for 20 minutes a day and doing math problems just to keep his brain sharp. It's not assigned by the school. It's not told to me by the school. I just know that if you come home and you play video games for 5 hours, your brain is not going to retain any of that information you sat there for 7 hours working on. It just goes without saying. Give them something to do. Or in some instances, read to them. Even if they can't read to them. Give them that, reassurance that you actually care about their education. Okay? That's a huge thing. Parent buy-in is a must. If you're not buying into your child's education, you actually are doing them a disservice. And that's just real. Because you're just allowing them to just coast through and do absolutely nothing. And then when they come out and, get to high school, right? Because the first 8 grades, you basically are no child left behind. You just coasting through. whether you do the work or not, which sucks too because most kids don't learn anything. By the time they get to high school and the reality hits that you have to do this work in order to graduate, most kids end up, falling behind, and they get to the point where, again, they get dysregulated, they get emotional, they drop out. Now you got a bunch of dropouts hanging out all day, up to no good, and then boom, they start thinking of stupid stuff to do, crimes, petty crimes, etc., whatever, or not. Maybe they turn to something else, hustling, whatever the case may be. But without that basis of education from grades K to 8, you're gonna fall by the wayside. And I'm seeing a lot of kids fall by the wayside. Now, there are some success stories of kids who really didn't do much, and then they get to high school, they get that reality check, and then they still manage to, graduate and go on to bigger and better things. But for the most part, in my years of profession, in this education profession, those kids who don't do much end up struggling tremendously. And that's not just me being, I'm not trying to be funny, I'm just being serious. They end up struggling tremendously because they have not gotten used to doing work on a consistent basis. You cannot, when you get to those upper grades, just turn in work when you feel like it. If they start doing that in kindergarten, if you're not monitoring the homework that they get and helping them week by week and day by day, again, parent buy-in. If you're not buying in, they won't buy in. Nobody's buying in. The teacher, is already all the way in because it's their job, but you have to meet the teacher at least halfway and dedicate yourself to helping your child become better. And if you start to see the results and you praise your child on it, again, and they feel good about it, then eventually, again, like I said, they feel good, they'll keep going, they'll keep doing more work. You'll start to see them get the honor roll and all kind of awards. And it went from a situation that was going to be terrible, right? It was going to be a bad situation where you didn't buy in, to now you bought in, and now you just see the positive that comes from it. So please, buy into your kids' education. If you don't do nothing else, buy into the education, meet the teachers halfway, answer the dojos, emails, etc., come to the meetings, just get invested. If they see you invested even the slightest bit, they're going to try their hardest to make you feel good and make you proud. That's really what they want to do anyway. They just need to know that you actually care about it, okay? Another difficulty though, right, is this whole budgeting and losing staff and all that good stuff, right? Because in the end, right, it's overworking the people who've been there, okay? And it's driving, principals crazy and other staff, and everybody's feeling overworked and overwhelmed and all this kind of stuff, and it leads to burnout and people quitting, and now that's putting more work. Like, I know budgets have to be had, and I know they got rid of in some sections, the Department of Education, they turned it back over to the states, knowing that the states don't have the money to keep some of these large districts going, which set them up for failure again. They slashing special ed programs all the way around. All that is making it difficult, okay? None of that is making our jobs easy as educators. And speaking as an educator, right, it's a disservice. It is unethical at what these people are doing or being allowed to do to the educational system in America. And I know we're being laughed at by other countries because they are far and exceeding us at every turn. Free education here, there, and everywhere else. We paying for college, which has to be one of the biggest scams. They say they don't have money for this or funding for that, but then I saw during seeing during COVID and other things where all these resources came about. And again, there was a Department of Education at that point, so there was able to be funding. I know now that doesn't exist because, again, it's been ripped to shreds by, a certain party. They feel that it's not necessary, but it's a difficulty of working in education. You don't know where the funding is coming from. There's not enough, so then people have to be slashed and cut, and budgets and all type of things are taken away from the kids instead of giving to the kids to help them learn on a day-to-day basis. There are people who need reading help, writing help, but you don't have the funding to do it. So these kids just sit there idly every day on a computer for 7 hours, not getting the help that they definitely need. Okay? Now, I said all that to say this. Even though it's difficulties working in education, even though it's hard, even though it has its moments, there are bright spots, okay? I enjoy working with children. I enjoy building those relationships. If you see me at the school I'm at, I'm always in the hall. Not always in the hall, but when I'm in the hall, you'll hear my name. Mr. Brown, Mr. Brown, Mr. Brown, Uncle Brown, blah, blah, blah. You're going to hear my name everywhere. And that's not me being like, boasting or anything. That's just what it is. Like, I don't really like it much, to be completely honest. I want to sometimes just be able to walk through without hearing my name being called. But it's because I've, again, been in so many classes, grades. The kids know me. They always asking me for candy and Takis and everything else under the sun. But it's those relationships you build with them that oftentimes you're able to talk to them, get them back on track, or get them in the classroom, get them to work, and you use it to your advantage. And I do. I use it to my advantage to get them to do what they need to do. It's always good though, even though sometimes I don't like it. It's good to be able to have that positive impact on kids without really trying. So that's one of the pluses. Again, the relation is huge though. And once you have a relationship with a kid, you could basically get them to do anything when it comes to schoolwork, or at least try. I definitely enjoy that, having that influence over them as well. But listen, I think I've said enough about the difficulties and the pluses, right, of working in the school system. Hopefully, if you know some teachers and some educators, share this with them. Like, subscribe, comment. Let me know how you feel if you are an educator, or even if you have kids in schools. We could talk about it, have a healthy dialogue. That's always one of the things I enjoy about doing these podcasts and making these videos, is the healthy dialogue that can come from it. So listen, if you like what you see and you like the content, man, show it off. Let people know what time it is. I'm just doing this because it gives me a chance to talk about things that I do and things that I go through. So with that being said, man, I'm done. I'm all set today. Peace and love. I'll talk to y'all soon.